We're back with more Pauper content here on Common Knowledge, the show where I take a look at 10 common Magic the Gathering cards, tell you if they're any good in the Pauper format or not. The format where you can only play with commons, so we only look at commons. Makes sense to me. Our first card of the day is Netter N. Dahl, a single white mana for a 1/1 human spell shaper. You can pay a single white mana, tap, and discard a card to have target creature not be able to attack this turn. Hey, yesterday we had the Bola warrior guy who kind of does the opposite of this. It's a spell shaper that taps for or that you pay a red, you tap, discard a card, target creature can't block. So that's fun. This card isn't very good either. But in fact, I would say it's even worse because white is not a good madness color. So you're not even getting the potential usefulness out of that. Now, having a target creature not be able to attack is better than having target creature not be able to block. There's a lot of scary creatures in the Pauper format that you might want to stop from attacking, and this allows you to stall them out. But the mana cost, the losing a card each turn, having to tap this down so it won't be able to block, all those things kind of combine to make for a not very exciting card to me. We can go with a 2. And we will move on. What shall we move on to is the question, though. It is Wall of Diffusion. 1 and a red for a 0/5 wall with Defender. This creature can block creatures with Shadow as though it had Shadow. Well, isn't that useful? There are a couple creatures with Shadow that not really get used in the format, but can see very sparing play. This is not enough of an ability to to justify this being in any deck. A 2 mana 0/5 is already kind of whatever, but then this ability is bad. I would kind of rather this be vanilla at that point. I'd have more respect for it. Maybe in Tempest it was better with more shadow creatures hanging around, but now this is kind of insults your intelligence. I'm gonna go all the way down to something like a 1.4. This is pretty poor. Sandstorm Eidolon is 3 and a red for a 2/2 spirit. You can pay a red, sacrifice this creature, and target creature can't block this turn. Whenever you cast a multicolored spell, you may return this card from your graveyard to your hand. I don't think is this the Eidolon people are playing in the Eidolon's deck. Let's actually look. I don't know that deck all that well. It kind of came with Secrets of Strixhaven or got better with Secrets of Strixhaven. Wait, are these are spirits? So you don't put Eidolon in the type thing. You put Eidolon in the card name. Eidolon, and I think the Eidolons that we're talking about are in red or white. Yeah. Whoops, and legal for the Pauper format, of course. We don't want any of those nasty uncommons, rares, or mythic rares. Yeah. I think this does get played in the. Correct me if I'm wrong. I really don't know about the. I don't even know what you call it. The 0/4 that can switch its attack or switch its power and toughness. But I guess both of these Eidolons are played because you do end up playing some multicolored spells. You get these back from your graveyard to your hand. You have the spirit mascots all get a lot larger. Man, is there... Oh, MTG decks. What is the name of that tribe? Tribe, right? Tribe combo? Tribe something? Boros Tribe? Is that what we're talking about? I think so. Let's get in here. I'm really curious now. Yeah, play the Aurora Eidolon and the Sandstorm Eidolon. Okay, this is a real card. This is a real card. And Tireless Tribe. That's the card I'm thinking of. So yeah, you play this in some Pauper decks. Inside Out is a card that gets played, which is multicolored itself, but it's played with the Tireless Tribe to switch its power and toughness. But the Tireless Tribe can discard cards like these Eidolons from your hand to be able to get really big, and then you use the Inside Out to switch that power and toughness, and you get these cards back in your hand So that's pretty cool. It can do some cool things, Plus, it has the Spirit Mascot, which is also a multicolored card. Sneaky Snacker, which these say play. It does say play whenever you play these cards. So I think you don't play these. They would just enter the battlefield when you're using them with the um, with like the thrilling discovery or the pursue the past or the faithless looting. So those, despite being multicolored cards, those don't really count for here. But they have the thrilling discovery, you have the pursue the past, you've got the inside outs, you have the spirit mascots. Like this is a pretty cool deck. I've seen this deck do some really nice things in the format. I just not a deck I am familiar with playing myself, and I haven't actually had it played against me. I just kind of watched somebody else play it. But these are cool cards for that reason, and kind of for that reason only. But it's a tier 2 deck now, so this is pretty solid. The card itself is not all that great. You're not really playing this for the creature. You're playing this for the discardability of it, and or the ability to discard it, and the ability that it has to be able to bring it back and have it leave your graveyard and go back into your graveyard and loop that enough times to be able to do something really cool with it. But sometimes that's enough. If it works, it works, and in this case, it does work. So I got to give this a pretty good score. I'm going to give this a 5.7, I think. Yeah, I think that's what I'm going to go with. Cool to see a card and think about that deck. Here's a card that matters a little bit less. It's called Short Sword, single generic mana for a one or for an artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1, and it equips for 1. Yeah, this makes sense. Just a normal, easy Magic card. Now, call me old fashioned, but I'm a Mirrodin guy. That's when I started playing Magic the Gathering. So Leonin Scimitar is a little bit more my speed, which is also a 1 mana equipment that gives 1/1 and equips for 1. So it's the same exact card. Wild that they bumped it up to uncommon in 10th edition. That's crazy. But this is a common. This is 100% a common card. But this is the card I remember, and I remember using it a decent amount. Short Sword is the exact same thing though, but it's a little bit more generic. You can understand that if you can put Short Sword in lots of different sets. Leonin Scimitar kind of requires you to be on Mirrodin, where the Leonin are, or New Phyrexia or whatever. Anyway, Short Sword, still not very good. These are pretty generic equipments. That is probably about as generic equipment as you can get. And it's fine. It's okay. It's cheap. There's nothing terrible about it, but it's also not terribly good either. Let's you can just play better cards. There's just so many better cards that you can play than Short Sword, and I would suggest that you play those instead. We'll go for a 2. Aegis Automaton is 2 mana for a 0/3 artifact creature construct, and you can pay 4 and a white to return another target creature you control to its owner's hand. That is extremely expensive for that ability. I think if you knock that down by 3 mana, maybe we could talk. 2 mana, I could maybe even make an argument, but 5 mana for that effect is, oh boy, that's so expensive. Not even the most desperate of Ortov Blade decks, I think, would be willing to play with this. That's pretty poor. 1.6. I don't even think it blocks all that well. Swift Justice, single white mana for an instant. Until the end of turn, target creature gets +1/+0 and gains first strike and lifelink. That's a pretty good suite of abilities. This is also pretty good. That could potentially be good life gain if you're putting this on the right creature. Nice combat trick that's going to win you some battles, gain you some life. This is just pretty solid overall. I don't think it's quite good enough to matter, but I like everything that's on it. Really good cube card, I guess. A good cube combat trick. For the Pauper format, I think you could put a copy or two in your deck and make it work, but how? What are you actually going to play it on? You're in white, so you got to be in something like. Does this go in mono white heroic? Maybe. I don't think it needs to. You got the spirit links that already kind of do the lifelink thing. You have the hyena umbras and other umbras that can give first strike. The +1 is not particularly strong enough compared to some of the other things that you can play in that deck. So it's a good all around card, but in terms of where does it actually go, where would it see play? I'm not sure there's a deck right now. Yeah, maybe like a repartee deck, with using the Ortsov stuff from Secrets of Strixhaven. Maybe there's something there. It hasn't caught on quite yet, but it's still pretty early for Secrets of Strixhaven. We're still figuring out what we want to do with some of these cards, and the repartee mechanic has not really been thought through, I think, in the format. So maybe there's something there. I can go as high as a 3, I think. It's probably too high, but I'm going to go with it. Next card is Riptide Biologist. We've done this one before. It was a long time ago. It might have been like 80 episodes ago, but I do remember this card. Protection from Beasts is very funny, and being a morph thing, this is not a particularly good card, but I do have fond memories of it. I own a copy of that. Anyway, we're skipping that one for our next card, which is Yip Yip. Hey, this card sees some play. Single white mana for an instant that is a lesson. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until end of turn. If that creature is an ally, it also gains flying until end of turn. The ally and the flying part isn't all that relevant. Maybe if you have some changelings or something, it can be a little bit more useful. But the reason that this card sees some play is that it is a combat trick that you can go grab with any learn card. So there's plenty of cards that can go learn. You can have this in your sideboard. You can just grab it. Maybe it's just a one-off in your sideboard, but a one-off combat trick isn't bad when you know that you can grab it whenever you need to. And those learn cards can be a tutor for a big suite of different abilities that you might need at any one time. And sometimes you need a 1-mana combat trick like this. It's not the best card in the world, but being that it is searchable in that way is solid. It's not bad. It's not bad. I think this shows up in mono white heroic, right? Because it's another card that triggers heroic, and there's a card that also learns that I think puts a counter on a creature, so that also triggers heroic. But then it also grabs this other card that can trigger heroic. Like that's not bad. It's not bad. Mono white heroic is not my strong suit, but it is a deck that is quite strong in the format. We'll go for a. I don't want to give it too much credit. It is mostly good just because it's a lesson that you're grabbing. It's not really main deckable in that way, and you wouldn't main deck it because it would kind of defeat the purpose of the learn mechanic. You're not playing a ton of copies in your deck, in your sideboard, because you really just need it one time when you really do need it. So I don't want to give it quite a 5. Like, yes, it's playable in Pauper. It's played in Pauper. It's played in a good deck in Pauper. But the card itself, I think, is probably closer to something like a 4.6. But I want to give it some props for being in a real deck. So that is pretty good. Next card is Charge. Single white mana for an instant. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until end of turn. That's fine. That's just fine. It's not great. It's probably not good enough, but it is fine. Yeah, I don't hate it. Wild that it took us until Dominaria to get a card called Charge. But it's simple and clean. It works quite well. This is fine. Doesn't really see a whole lot of play, or any play really, but decent magic card. I'll give it a 3.1. Next up is our last official card of the day. It is Blind Zealot, 1 in double black for a 2/2 Phyrexian Human Cleric with Intimidate. Can't be blocked except by artifact creatures and or creatures that share a color with it. We talked about this a couple episodes ago. This is just fear. When it's on a black creature, it is just fear. but intimidate's slightly different in that it can work for other colors. What else does this do? Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do, destroy target creature that player controls. Huh. Kind of interesting. Like I like that it has evasion to get in. It gives you an option to be able to sacrifice it and remove a troublesome creature from the opponent's side. I guess it's a way to get around some bigger threats. It's still slow. 3 mana to get this on the board in the first place, and having to deal combat damage with it. There's enough artifact creatures in the format that in many different colors as well, not just colorless ones, but colored ones can work too. And there's also plenty of black creatures in the format. So I don't know that this gets in enough, gets in guaranteed often enough that it really takes up a slot in your deck. I think you're mostly going to end up being disappointed by it. Cool art, but outside of the art, I don't think it's anything special. We'll go for a 2.5. And a bonus card to end things on, it's Glide Dive Duo. 4 and a black for a 3/3 bat lizard with flying. And when this creature enters, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. We, didn't we just get a card like this in Secrets of Strixhaven too? Like a vampire that does that? Like, I think it's like same colors and same text. Secret of Strixhaven black, vampire. That's probably good enough. Let's see if that gets us to where we need to go. Yeah, this guy. 5 mana, 3/3, flying. When it enters, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. That's what this guy is. But this guy's a bat lizard, and this guy's a vampire warlock. This is probably better. The Sneering Shade Rider is probably better. Vampires are a more used tribe, and then warlock, I guess, is an outlaw. That might help you. Bats and lizards, they get, I mean, certainly from Bloomburrow, we saw bats and lizards both get a decent amount of tribe stuff, but yeah, I think overall you'd probably play this one. And here's the real secret: you're not going to play any of them. This I don't think it's good enough at all. 5 mana for a 3/3 flyer, even with the drain effect, I don't think you're going to find much success there. We'll still give it a 2.7, but yeah, I think this one can stay in your bulk bin. That's it. We did it. Yay! I'll see you next time. Bye.